out of 7 billion people in this world, 2 billion of them are teens. Out of those teens, half of them have been cyberbullied.
Rebecca Ann Sedgwick was laid to rest today.
Last year, 13-year-old Megan Meyer hanged herself.
And police say she took her life after getting bullied relentlessly by kids on the internet.
Police say the bullies began to target Rebecca on social media her mother didn't know about.
I started seeing a sadder Rebecca, and then she went to counseling for about 3 or 4 months after that. She's always came and told me everything.
But this tragedy did turn a spotlight on a dark corner of teen life, cyberbullying, using the internet or cell phones to threaten, spread rumors, or post doctored photographs.
You haven't killed yourself yet? Go jump off of a building. That's exactly what she did.
According to recent studies, this kind of bullying is on the rise. By one count, as many as 1 in 3 kids is being victimized.
It makes me angry, and it hurts.
The worst taunts came from a group of 15 students. They began last year.
I mean, where did they get this hatred from? They took her confidence away. They took her self-worth away. They took my baby away. And now she's gone from me.
How many lives have to be lost until people realize words do matter?
Sorry.
There are many reasons why people cyberbully, and there are many effects from cyberbullying itself. According to deletebullying.org, there are 3 main reasons why people cyberbully. 1, because they can remain anonymous. Cyberbullying allows bullies to avoid facing their victims, so it requires less courage and provides the illusion that bullies won't get caught. Number 2, ignorance of the consequences. The National Council on Crime Prevention reports that in a survey of teenagers, 81% said they believe others cyberbully because they think it's funny, because they don't see their victim's reaction in person. Cyberbullies may not realize how much damage they are doing. Number 3, social pressure. Some cyberbullies may think their behavior is normal and socially acceptable, especially when friends egg them on. According to stopbullying.gov, there are just as many called effects from cyberbullying. Each person's response to being bullied is unique, but research has shown some general techniques. According to stopbullying.gov, reports that youth who are bullied have a higher risk of depression and anxiety. Symptoms may include increase of feelings of sadness and loneliness, changes in sleep and eating patterns, loss of interest in activities, and more health complications. Youth who are bullied are more likely to struggle personally and at school. They may skip, miss, or drop out of school, receive poor grades, and have lower self-esteem, use alcohol and drugs. In severe cases, commit suicide, which is the number 1 effect from cyberbullying.
Speaking of psychological effects, physical repercussions from cyberbullying is not uncommon. These can include physical distress like aches, pains, and injury upon oneself in forms of cutting and attempted suicide. Compared to actual bullying, however, cyberbullying can be much more detrimental to one's health. Psychological damage is much more painful, scarring, and permanent than physical damage. For example, bruises, scratches, and cuts will easily begin to fade away after a week or so with proper care. But psychological and emotional pain? Not so much. Therapy, medication, and support groups can only help so much to a certain extent. It's like putting a bandage on a broken bone and calling it a day.
I want to love you. something's not right. What can I do? Everything gon' be alright. So baby, get some sleep tonight.
As we have seen from the entire presentation, cyberbullying is a very large and dangerous issue that we have been dealing with for quite a long time. And because this is such a large issue, we have to come up with new and improving ideas to stop cyberbullying, as these cyberbullies are improving in their bullying. The number one way to prevent cyberbullying is by educating teens and young adults on online safety and privacy. By educating this crowd of people, they can learn how to minimize cyberbullying and also how to eventually put an end to it. By teaching them about what to disclose and what not to disclose, they will learn how and what to post to social media. If one is to disclose too much, it is a door for cyberbullies to attack vulnerable victims. Also, teaching them how to identify cyberbullying is a very important step in stopping a cyberbullying attack. This identification will allow them to inform the correct people. Overall, the research on cyberbullying is quite similar across the field, and it mostly gives the same tips to help cyberbullying. And these tips will be seen in this video.
Here are 5 tips to share with your kids about dealing with cyberbullies. First, don't respond or retaliate. If you're angry or hurt, you might say things you'll regret later. Plus, retaliation only prolongs the problem and doesn't solve it. Second, block the bully. Block phone numbers, screen names, and email addresses, and remove the person from your buddy or friends list. Third, save the evidence. Print out or take screenshots of abusive messages and keep them as proof. Fourth, report it. Most websites have rules against cyberbullying. You can usually find information on how to report abuse in the site's community guidelines. And finally, tell a trusted adult. Telling a teacher or a parent isn't tattling, it's standing up for yourself. And even if the bullying occurs online, your school probably has rules against it. For more cyberbullying prevention tips and advice, visit us at commonsense.org.
Because cyberbullying is online, the channel, environment, and nonverbal communication is different from face-to-face bullying. The channel, the means of communication, strongly encourages the bullies to be more relentless online. This prevents physical altercations. However, bullies will feel more comfortable on the internet and would want to do it more often. The internet is accessible to everyone, so this makes cyberbullying a lot more public. The audience grew from the bully's group of friends to the entire World Wide Web. The internet changes the environment as well. Besides being in 2 different physical spaces, the mentality of the bully and victim may be completely different. The bully may have the intent of bullying, or is just feeling the need to bully because they are feeling bad themselves. The victims, on the other hand, can mentally brush off what is being said online, or actually take it to heart, which may lead to self-harm, or worse. Unlike actual bullying, there are no adults or friends around to help. Most cyberbullying occurs in private messages or text messages, which are only seen by the bully or victim. As we've seen before, victims are reluctant to get help, which makes cyberbullying so deadly. Because there is no verbal communication between the bully and victim, nonverbal cues cannot be sent online. For example, a shift in body position can represent feelings of uncomfort. Conversely, a firm gait and a large puffy chest can represent confrontation and aggression. Through the internet, the potential bully may be kidding or joking around, but may not realize how uncomfortable the other person is feeling. On the other hand, by not picking up the hostile body language someone may be displaying, the situation can easily escalate and cause serious damage.
This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song. My power's turned up. So right now I'll be strong. I'll play my fight song. And I don't really care if nobody else
After or during cyberbullying, it is important that the victim can cope with what has happened. According to Lazarus and Folkman, two psychologists, coping serves to eliminate or modify a problem by neutralizing its negative character, which helps the individual regulate his or her emotional response. A 2009 study categorized coping into 4 categories. There's social coping, seeking help from family, friends, teachers, or peers. Then there's aggressive coping, where the victim allows their emotions to overcome their morals. This leads to retaliation, physical attacks, or verbal threats. This is known as incivility. Then there's helpless coping, when there's hopelessness, passive reactions such as avoidance or displays of emotion. And finally, cognitive coping, responding assertively, using a reason, analyzing the bully's episode and the bully's behavior. This is when the victim uses perception. Perception is the gathering, sorting, and then interpreting of information. A huge component of coping with cyberbullying is the emotional effect. Bullying can cause any person to feel a range of emotions, from anger to sadness. These emotions can become debilitative and consume the victim's thoughts. Many will cope by avoidance of computer-mediated communication because they can only feel the negative emotion while online. Also, the victim's self-esteem can be affected. Self-esteem is related to our self-concept. Self-concept is the perceptions we have about ourselves. Self-esteem is how we judge those perceptions. Low self-esteem causes the person to expect rejection, be hostile, and feel threatened by others, along with many more negative effects. Friendships greatly improve the chances of a person coping with an experience of bullying. Friendships allow the victim to seek compliments or receive criticism in a positive way, unlike the harmful attacks of a bully. Friends are also there just to listen or give advice on how to stop the bullying. Cyberbullying can sometimes result in a friendship, because when the victim cognitively copes, they understand the bully's side of the attacks, and the victim might be able to relate to the bully's environments, or help with the issues that the bullies deal with. When attempting to socially cope, the victim has to be cautious of who they ask for help with their bullying experience, because people with low self-esteem, or that are socially rejected, often victims are these, are perceived as demanding when seeking support.
You don't own me. You don't own me.
Well, let's go. But I'm Gerald, and I can always have just what I want. She's the baddest, I would love to.
Please state your name.
Regis Faulkner.
Regis, have you ever experienced cyberbullying?
Yes.
Can you please explain how it made you feel?
It made me feel helpless.
Have you ever wanted to kill yourself or do bodily harm to yourself because of it?
There have been times I thought of doing it.
Can you explain what happened when you were cyberbullied?
Well, I had a pretty rough time in high school, and the same people that I had a hard time with in high school found me on the internet on a social site, and since then they have been harassing me more times than I could count, and it's very unreasonable, and it made me feel helpless because I'm not even safe at home or even in school.
Have you thought about calling police on them?
Yeah, but I don't know if harassment is something that police be concerned about on the internet.
Okay. How did it make you feel knowing that you thought the police didn't deal with harassment? Did it make you feel alone or have any depression or anything?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
I'm bulletproof, nothing to lose. Far away. Ricochet, you take your aim. Far away.